Run, party, repeat. Welcome to the East Coast Adventures Dirt and Vert Podcast, where we talk all things running, racing, and training to help you get ready for your next big adventure.
Learn from our successes and our failures, and have fun at the same time. Join us right here every week with inspiring guests who share their captivating tales from the trails. And remember, nobody cares.
Run faster.
All right, welcome back to the Dirt and Vert Podcast. I'm David.
And I'm Matt.
And we have Maggie Guterl with us today, who, you know, I've got to admit this, like one of my very first backyard ultras I ever watched, ever. Like, was still learning about what a backyard ultra is. Mm-hmm. And that was the year that Maggie won it. So I'm like learning all about backyards, and I keep hearing this name Maggie. This was before it was all shared live stream, but kind of cool and kind of fun. And then just going through Maggie's huge list of races, huge list, and how long she's been running, and then also just the amount of trophies that you've acquired over the amount of time on ultra signups. So, I mean, very decorated runner. Maggie, but if you don't care, tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got into running.
Yeah, I am originally from Westchester, Pennsylvania. Didn't grow up as a runner, but it was always like kind of running around the neighborhood outside type of thing. I did like kind of all of the sports in grade school, and then high school didn't do any sports. And I don't know, I always kind of came back to running as like this thing I would try, or, you know, like periods of my life where like in college, I'd run over the Brooklyn Bridge with my friend or something. And then, you know, wouldn't run again for years. And then I think finally like 2007, I was like, I'm going to actually train for a race. So that's kind of like where I think I started becoming a runner. Ultra running, I didn't even know what that was and wasn't on my radar, and not even a marathon seemed possible or like a thing. But yeah, I mean, I grew up, my parents still live in the same house in Westchester, and I have one brother. And yeah, it's pretty like normal suburban life outside of Philadelphia.
So when you were running in high school, did you say high school?
I ran in grade school, like just like 100 meters was my little thing. And the whole way around seemed really way too long. And then in high school, I think I was on the cross country team for like a week, and I was like, nah. I was more interested in partying then.
Well, how did you find ultras? Like what drew you to the longer distance?
I honestly think it was, so in like, I moved to Philly like 2005 or 6. And so I lived in the city. And when I started running in 2007 and beyond, I ran on the Kelly Drive loop, which anyone in Philly knows. It's like this 8-mile paved loop around the Schuylkill River. It like goes in front of the art museum. And there was this ultra that took place in the middle of July, and I just go running at all hours. And I remember seeing people just like in the middle of the night looking like they're suffering, just wondering, what are these people doing? You know, they're wearing bibs. You could tell they're in a race. And that was like the first time I ever heard of like a 24-hour race. And then I think I just like did the normal thing. There wasn't a ton of stuff on the internet then, but like, which seems crazy because it's not that long ago, but I did what everyone else does, is like find Ultra Marathon Man by Dean Karnazes. And then I eventually read Born to Run. So those are my introductions to ultra running.
Yeah. Born to Run was like my first book ever. And I'm like, I think I listened to that book. I read it, and then I bought the audiobook, and I think I listened to that thing like for like months straight, just over and over. And it like made me obsessed with ultra running. So like your first actual ultra, was it, I see a 24-hour race on here. So was that like your first official ultra?
Yeah, it was 2011. Because I would have signed up the year before, but a guy I ran with was like, told me his buddy ran an ultra and couldn't run anymore and was like ruined. So I was like, oh, I don't want that to happen. But then I like started hearing about people who ran ultras all the time. And I was like, well, that's probably, I don't know. Like, oh, there's one famous ultra runner in our area called Keith Straw. He's a tall, Keith. Yeah,
I've heard the
tall,
name.
older, like skinny British guy who was famous for wearing a tutu and doing Badwater. And then he would always pace all the races wearing a tutu. I think he's tried to separate his identity from the tutu. He got stuck having to wear that thing. But that was like one of the first guys I heard of that ran ultras.
Yeah. Anytime I hear him, I always think about him and Ed the Jester, because he wears the Jester costume and everything. And I'm like, man, that's cool, but I would hate to have to do that in every race that I ran.
Yeah.
I think Keith started to be like, this sucks.
Well, I mean, that's impressive, though, to be honest. Like, your very first ultra is 24 hours, and it says you did 97 miles. That's not normal, like, for most people that attempt their first 24 hours and hasn't really done many ultras. Like, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Do you remember, like, that race? Did you struggle, or did everything kind of work okay?
Well, as you know, living in the South, and Philadelphia is not too much different. It's like, it's the middle of July. It's super humid. It's really hot. So if you know nothing about nutrition for ultra running, like, and then you add humidity, like, you're sure to projectile vomit the entire time. So, like, I was terribly nauseous from the very beginning. So I spent the entire day, like, just, hoping to throw up, where you're like, oh yes, that's like the one. I feel so much better. It finally did happen after, like, I don't know, it was sometime in the middle of the night. But yeah, my goal was 100 miles because I didn't know. I was like, oh yeah, that seems like 15-minute miles. That's fine. So I'm pretty stoked I even got close, because I like, or late in the middle of the night, and then into the morning, I was like lapping people, just trying to get to 100 miles. This is when I first heard of Sabrina Little, who's like an amazing runner, and she had the American record for the 24-hour at that time around then. And Anna Piskorska, I think, was in second place. She was a Polish woman that's local to the area. I ran past her, and her pacer are like, what laps are you on? They wanted to make sure I wasn't like passing her, because I looked so strong, but I was like literally like way, way behind her. But yeah, it felt really good to be able to run, but I was so wrecked after that. Like, I think I lost 14 pounds. So that's like water weight. That's like not really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't walk. Like, I think I woke up on the bathroom floor because I don't remember, but I think I must have fainted or something. I was like in a pool of sweat. And I was like, I don't know how people do this. Like, I probably can't do this ever again. And then I signed up again the next year. Yeah. And actually I think it was canceled that year. I can't remember the timeline exactly, but it was canceled one year because they predicted horrible thunderstorms. And that race used the city of Philadelphia's insurance, and they said, no way.
Oh, yeah.
Because they just thought people, and they predicted a heat wave too. They thought people would just die. So they said no. Yeah. And so that's when I found my first like trail 100. This is like this fat ass that's way north in Pennsylvania, almost to the New York border, called the Viaduct 100. I don't know if anyone listening has ever heard of that, but it was pretty fun. It's like on a rail trail, and you ran out 13 miles and then back 13 miles, and you did that 4 times. It was in the middle of nowhere.
So was the Back of My Feet Long Ranger, was it on a track, or was it just like a greenway?
That was on the Kelly Drive loop. So there was the 8-mile loop.
Okay.
Yeah, and aid stations along the way, but kind of a tough format for a 24-hour too, because you got, instead of like a 1-mile loop or like a very short loop where you have like tons of aid, it's pretty spread out.
Yeah, it also makes it hard when you're like at 97 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to get bussed back because it was halfway around the loop. Yeah. That's where you kind of like, do I want to go and then have to wait to get picked up, or like I'm already at the like start finish, and like,
more power to you for going back out.
I had a good pacer.
Well, and it looks like, so it must have been 2013 maybe that it was canceled, because 2012 you went back the following year and ran almost 110 miles.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds right.
So nice work. What is the Dirty German Endurance Fest?
Yeah, that one's an awesome race in Philadelphia. If anyone's like in that area, they know it. It's in Pennypack Park. So it's on trail, but it's pretty easy, very chill trails. And that was my first that probably was my first actual real ultra trail race. Because I think that year I was like, I should probably run some other shorter ultras if I'm going to run this again. So I think, did I run that 2012, I guess, maybe? Is that?
Yes, you did.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That race is fun. I ran it multiple times. I think I did the 50K one year. And I was actually just talking to someone about this because it's their goal, one of their goal races. That year I ran in the 50K. It was like torrential rain. We ran through like knee deep water. The aid station washed away. Like I came back on the loop and it was gone. I'm sure you guys have had some races like that because the East Coast weather can be crazy.
Oh yeah,
it changes quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I love seeing though is like the Dirty German Endurance Fest. That race is still going on.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of races that started back in 2008, 9, 10, 11 that just don't happen anymore. So that's cool to see that one's still there. Do they still do the Back on My Feet?
Yeah, it's a different. No, the Back on My Feet. No, it was by a charity called Back on My Feet, and the woman who started that moved on to I think she opened like some kind of Pilates studios things in DC or something. But I think it got too expensive to put on, and the idea of it was a fundraiser, and so it kind of negated the purpose.
When I see the Viaduct 100, which you won, by the way, congratulations.
Mm-hmm. I think I did that twice too, because it was just brutal the first year. I didn't know what I was doing, and then I went back and I ran it much faster, but I don't remember which years it was.
Well, I mean, you did it in 25 hours this time, and you were second overall, first female. And you did not do it on. I mean, it looks like you ran a lot of races in 2013, so you weren't like on fresh legs.
I didn't know what rest meant. I didn't know.
Yeah, no, you've got a lot of races.
Yeah, in 2014, I think I raced a lot too, and then I just kind of chilled out a little bit.
Yeah, I see Duncan Ridge Trail on here. That's a tough one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's a good story. Maybe this will be a cautionary tale because I would probably do this differently. I was kind of like loosely trying to do a marathon in every state. And then I was like, well, I love ultras, so now maybe I'll try that. So I was like, oh, I need Georgia. And I saw that 50K. So I drove all the way down from Pennsylvania and camped at the park. And then, got up in the morning to get ready for the race. And I was like, damn, my face feels like tight. My lips feel tight. This is weird. And I was in a tent, so I can't look at myself. So I did the screen for the phone, and I was like, oh, I look like a Muppet. Like something's wrong. My face is so swollen. And yeah, I don't know. I went to the bathroom and I have pictures of this. I'll have to find them and I'll email them to you guys for your entertainment. But yeah, my whole face was swollen. I could barely see out of my eyes. And I was like, I don't know what to do. So I just got ready to run and I was like, okay. And then I went to the start and I was like, hey, do you guys have any medical people? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, I woke up like this is not what I normally look like. And they're like, yeah, you look swollen. And I figured I could see if they had anything. I don't know. I didn't even think to ask for Benadryl from anyone. And I ran the whole race. It took me forever. I felt terrible. I don't even remember. I cannot remember the race at all. I remember just climbing forever. I found a stick and I was using that as a walking stick. I wasn't trained for vert. I didn't really think about it. I finished the race. I feel like it took me 9 hours. I called my mom at the end and I was like, oh, I'm done. Cause I had told her my face had swollen and I was like, oh, I'll just start the race. She starts crying because she was so worried the whole time. I felt really bad. But anyways, dark because it took me 9 hours. And so I was like, okay, well, I had a hotel in Harrisonburg. So I just got in the car and started driving. And when I got to check in my hotel, I hadn't looked in the mirror at myself or anything. I check in, I go in the hotel and I'm covered in hives from head to toe. I look like Sloth from the Goonies or something. And my whole body burned. Like I could tell in the car that it just burned. And I was like, that's weird. Maybe it's just part of like, I did a hard race. So I don't know. And I was like, this is crazy. So I went to like, there's nothing really open. And I went to the gas station and they didn't have Benadryl, or like it was locked up, or like they couldn't get to it. And so I like looked at my phone. I was like, oh, there's an ER right down the street. So I went there and there was no one there. They saw me like instantly. It was like in the middle of nowhere. And my ER doctor happened to be a triathlete. And so he didn't think I was crazy for running the race. But basically, I had some kind of allergic reaction. Maybe something bit me. He asked me about food allergies. I don't have any. It's never happened again. He gave me steroids and all this stuff, and then some other like steroid medication to take later or something. And I got better, drove home, and then it kind of like got worse, and it was really painful. But ultimately, I was fine. Like it got worse before it got better. So anyway, he basically said I spread the whatever allergic reaction to my entire body. So I had like even the bottoms of my feet had hives on them.
Whoa! Just from the blood.
So I wouldn't do that again.
Would you? Would you?
It's a good story.
Are you sure?
I don't know.
Depends on the race.
Yeah, I guess it depends. I would take Benadryl and just be tired. And
I mean, if that would have
better.
happened at Kilimanjaro, what would you have done?
Well, yeah, I would have taken Benadryl. And that's your only option. You really can't. You don't have an option. Well, one of the girls on our trip was like, Greg was actually really badly ill on the way up. We were like, is he okay? Like, because Greg's pretty tough. Greg Armstrong. We were talking about him before we started recording. For anyone else you should probably go listen to the Greg Armstrong episode too after this.
Absolutely.
But he was not feeling well the whole time. We thought he was like, what if he has like, I don't know, he had a fever? Like, how bad is this? Like, we're gonna just go up so high in the mountain. And he woke up the next day fine. But like, yeah, you got to tough it out or walk back down, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And if Greg's talking or hurting about anything, it's got to be serious because he doesn't say much.
Yeah. He didn't say anything. And we were like, just get in the tent and go to sleep. And he did. And I think it worked. He slept like 12 hours and then it was okay.
It's funny that you tell that story though, because it made me think about, so we got this race we put on. It's called Fort Frenzy, and it's in the middle of August. And Mike, who's the guy that started East Coast Adventures with me long ago, so he's the other like main person of East Coast Adventures. And it's funny, he's out here, and we put this race on for years. And this was like 2 years ago, Maggie.
Yeah.
He goes out on a run with my fiance. They go. This is a 3.5 mile loop course.
Yeah. We all try to run a loop every now and then just to run out there with the people.
And we train out there.
Yep.
So, like on a monthly basis. He goes for a loop and he comes back, and I swear to goodness, he looked like Frankenstein. His face had swelled 3 times the size of normal. His lips were touching his nose, and his eyelids were so swollen they were almost shut. And Mary looked at me and she's like, I don't know what's wrong with him. And Mike he looked and I was like, dude, you're swollen. And I took a picture and showed him. And he's like, oh my God. And we gave him Benadryl, or I think he went and got Benadryl. He went home and went to sleep and came back, and it was finally starting to go away. But like, same thing, like, we don't know if he got bit. We don't we've ran out there for years, like for 10 years we've ran in this spot and never, but like, I know exactly what you're talking about. Cause when he turned around, I'm like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
We did learn something that day, that we should always have Benadryl with us.
Yeah.
So that was a learning experience.
Yeah. Now we have it at our races.
It's at all of our races and on my pack.
And this might have been what you look like, but he looked like Will Smith on Hitch.
Yeah.
Man, let me see if I can put in like, because there's like a video version of this podcast, right?
Yes. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I'll see if I can like Google in the search, like swollen face, and see if it can identify that. Cause
oh yeah.
Cause that predates my iPhone, I think. So I don't know. I found it.
Oh, all right.
Oh, did you
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, it's on Facebook. Okay, here, let's see if this works.
Oh my goodness, Maggie! You actually look like you've
How
been
did you s-
beaten.
How did you see
know-
out of your eyes?
I don't know. Yeah. I think I look like Janice from the Muppets. Remember that one from one of the band, the girl in the band, that Muppet.
Yeah, your eyes
Did-
are so swollen.
Did
Yeah,
you
yeah.
Were they like that during the race?
I think they started to open up because I remembered like being able to see better. And I
Okay.
think even as I got ready, maybe because the blood flushed around,
Yeah.
it was less swollen. So I was like, yeah, I can start the race because I can see now.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's dedication.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know. I
would
don't
have probably
advise
called it that day.
I mean, can you imagine being at the start line? I think I
Every-
can see the trail.
I see people turn around looking like, "What's this chick doing? Something's wrong with her."
I
Yeah.
felt like I had to justify why I look like that. So like I didn't talk to many people, but I was like, hey, I don't normally look like this. Something I was like swollen, and then people just like walk away from me, and I'm like, okay.
I normally don't look like Quasimodo, guys. I'm so
Normally.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so
Something's
sorry.
not right. Oh man.
Well, I would ask you, if you enjoyed the race, but that just sounds miserable.
I honestly don't remember it. Like I think I just went into survival mode. I like just remember my feet and looking down and being like, I need to get through this. Like, I don't know.
I see now why your mom was so worried.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I sent her that picture and like actually I pasted it on Facebook because that was like the thing at the time. And I think some of my relatives that are in the medical profession were like, please go see a doctor, but I didn't want to see those until later.
Right back. Yeah, I just finished up the 50K. I think I might go look now.
Yeah. We did the race. We'll go check
Let
it
me
out
see
now.
if I can type in hives and get the other picture from the hotel. Because like hives on the bottom of my feet was like,
I can imagine
No.
the pain.
it gave me like a beehive. I don't know if we can find that one as easily.
Well, if you
'cause I don't-
find it, let me know, and we'll like add that in to the video or something. That'd
Okay.
be fun. I can even
Okay.
put that picture like on the social media thing that we shared if you want me to.
Yeah, I can, oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
good
it'd be fun.
clickbait.
Yes, absolutely. I'll just say this is what Maggie normally doesn't look like. So, you did another 100-miler shortly afterwards. You did Rocky Raccoon. One of the things you can already see just from starting in 2011 is like your times are dropping by hours.
Yep.
In 2011, I think that's roughly about the time you started, like your first ultra. And then we're in 2013 now. Were you still like, at that point, were you training more and more? Did you have a coach or anything? Or were you still just trying to like feel your way through?
So actually, Rocky Raccoon was a like kind of moment. Like, well, so Yates was at Rocky Raccoon, and I think she was Ultra Runner of the Year that year. So that's when I got that magazine and I read about her for the first time in the Uroy edition. And then I saw she'd be at that race, so just kind of like, I just like liked the sport, and it was cool to hear like who are the top people, and never thinking like I wasn't like competitive or anything. So anyway, she like went by me multiple times because that race is a 20-mile loop. Like she went by me like a freight train, and I was like, holy crap, who is this lady? So anyway, like long story is like I ended up reaching out to her later in the year, like probably a couple months later, or maybe like 1 month, I don't know, asking her because I saw she was a coach. And asking her if she could help me out with my running because like I just ran a lot. I didn't really know what I was doing. And then she was my coach basically for the next, basically until 2021 or around there. So that was like 7 years. And I had a whole lot of races planned, but she's the one that said, maybe like cut back on the racing. And if this is your goal, because I did tell her in November that I was going to do the New Jersey Ultra One Day or New Jersey One Day. I think it's called New Jersey One Day, which is a qualifier, well, a certified course. So it would be a qualifier for the 24-hour team. And I didn't even at first think that I was going to qualify. I just was like, let me hit the qualifying mark, and that just be a cool thing to say you did. Kind of like qualifying for Boston, but you don't actually like run it. So yeah, she put me on this track of like trying to like do quality. I did way less miles under her than I was doing. I was just running middle of the week 17 milers for no reason, and then doing quality speed work. And then she pushed me to race less, which was definitely helped because I was more rested. So it was a pretty cool thing to see happen over, like that was what, from March to November. So it was a good long time.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of when you started realizing that you might be racing too much.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
to hit your goal. Okay.
I think I did Bandera 100K, and then the next month I did basically trying to race every month because I thought
you did. And and we all go down that road.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all do. And sometimes we still go back down that road. Just not as crazy sometimes, but we still do. You know what's kind of fun though? We were looking through this a minute ago, and you ran the USATF National 50K Road Championship in 2014.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our friend that actually lives in Knoxville, Ethan Coffey, won it that year. Him and Michael Wordian, I think, were first and second. So
okay, yeah,
kind of cool to see. Like, it's very rare that you see people that have ran the same races like that, because that's like a unique, race to sign up for that. But looks like you had a really good time too, and especially on not fresh legs. To do 100K, 100 miler, and then run a sub 4 hour 50K. Pretty dang good. Were you?
It was a struggle. I remember. Yeah, I don't think I should have. Yeah, I wasn't specifically trained for that. But I remember I was doing a lot of running with my buddy Kino, who lived in New York and wanted to do all of the USATF races. And he was like, "Our goal's sub 4 hours." So I was like, "Okay, sure." And like, he would always fade towards the end, and I would always feel like I was getting stronger. So like, I think he ran sub 4 too, but yeah, we'd try to run together, and then sometimes like he'd just fade and I'd like go. But that race is hard because it's kind of cold and kind of windy.
Yeah, I would imagine if Ethan's racing it is cold because he can't race in the summer. He sweats way too much, like way too much.
Yeah, he dehydrates quick.
I've never seen someone that enjoys cold weather as much as him. I hate it.
Yeah. Oh, I don't like cold. It's better for you than heat.
Okay, so we were talking about the 50K. A couple races go by through here, and then we come back to the Viaduct 100 mile. And this is a race we've talked about twice now. Mm-hmm. And pretty impressive now, Maggie, from the beginning to now. Like I think when we were looking at it earlier, you were like right at sub 25 hours or right at 25 hours the very first time. Now you're down to 18 hours. Speed. So, you're shaving hours and hours and hours off of these distances, which is pretty impressive in, 2-3 years time.
Yep.
So in 2014, this is July now, you talk to her about, training and coaching. Is she coaching you at all at this point, or do you have a coach?
What year is this?
This is 2014, July.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny too, because like I forget my goal was like, I don't know, it was like sub 20 maybe, but then I came in, I think this is like this just showed my inexperience. I had some friends crewing me, and I come in after 18 mile or no, whatever the first loop is, 20 something miles, the out and back. And I come in hot and I'm like, oh, we're going for sub 16 or sub 17 or whatever. It was like I lowered my goal big time because I was like doing the math and I was like, we got this. But I'm like, you idiot, you're like 25 miles into this race. And I mean, even halfway, I was still like, yeah, we could do this. And then the last lap, I just blew up. So I ended up 18 hours, which is still decent. But like,
absolutely,
that was, I don't know. That was just kind of funny because it was a little greedy. And so it worked out. But I mean,
it's perfectly in the middle. You were going for 20, then you changed it to 16. Now we're at 18. It's like,
Yeah, I don't even remember what the exact time goals were, but like it was something like that. But yeah, it was fun. And then I think my friend Nobu was like second or first or second. So it was fun. I don't know.
And you were
Like,
and you were first female,
Yep.
so that is fun when you and your friends both like can podium. That's really cool.
yeah, it was a good race.
And now we're to the New Jersey 1 day, 24
Yeah.
hours? Man, what a performance. So, you raced that 100-miler in July, and it looks like you actually took a break and trained for this race. And then you ran 142 miles in 24 hours. Now, I would assume in 2014, obviously that qualified you for Team USA.
Yeah, I forget what the qualifier was then. But I think it was over it. And it was maybe 130 then, I'm not sure. But that was like a secret kind of goal that was like 142-ish, because like I talked to another friend about and he's like, I think you're gonna run 142. And I didn't tell him that was my secret goal as well. But I remember a couple of things from that race, and this is the first time I figured out what the meaning of flow was, or like where I didn't know what was happening during the race. And later I like read about the phenomenon. I was like, that's what I was experiencing. Like, so a lot of New York and New Jersey runners come run it too. And I ran, my friend Yoshiko, who's passed away last year, was there, and she ended up with third, which was really cool too, because she was an older runner and like just super strong. And then a friend, Sky, and she ran, and she ended up making the team that year too. Well, I had it in my mind that I was like going to win, and I was like, I'm going to run this. I got this. And she went out hot, and she passed me. She looped me 6 times. And so in my head, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to lap her 6 times. I'm going to have to pass her 6 times and then lap her 6 more times. And so I had this in my head, and that was my singular goal for the entire race. Was like, she had a purple jacket on. And so like all I did was get out there on the loop, and then I see her jacket, and I would just like steadily go around. And that was like, she was like my carrot the whole race, because it's just like a 1 mile loop and it gets pretty boring. But I was like never bored. And I remember reaching out to Sabrina Little, who was Sabrina Moran at the time, who was the American record holder. And I was trying to get her to tell me, because people always say like, oh, ultras, for when you're running that long, you have to walk, run. And now we know that like people can run, but I was like, can you just run nonstop? Like, and she's like, oh, just like whatever you want to do. And I was like, no one will tell me, is it possible to just run like the whole time? And, and everyone says you fade no matter what. Like, and so I remember running near Keith Straw, and Keith was like, I overheard him just talking to other people saying like, everyone fades. You can't run an even paced race. It's not done. And in my head, I was like, that's my plan. So I'm just going to prove him wrong. And even though he wasn't saying it to me. And so that was like my other goal, was just to stay exactly on my pace. Obviously it gets harder to keep that pace, but you just can push, because it's kind of, you're like farther along. So, you can push for 6 more hours or whatever. And so like that's what I remember from that race. Like, it's just like this like perfect, fun, cool thing to see like, oh, I was like, I could actually do that. I just thought that was like this lofty goal or something.
Man, what was the feeling like finishing that, knowing that you qualified for Team USA?
It was really cool, because like you also become friends with, like, you see the same people on the course. And like I said, I got to share the podium with like 2 of my friends, and like, yeah, and it was fun, because like my buddy Josh Finger, who's like a very accomplished runner, he ended up stopping, but he was like cheering me on, and it was just like super cool. And I think it was the course record at the time too. I think I beat Sabrina's record on that course, which is also kind of cool, because I was like, she is like the best. I mean, she had run farther elsewhere, but on that course, I don't think anyone's run farther. I'm not sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
A 1 mile loop is ideal too, because like quarter-mile track is terrible.
Yeah,
It's
I agree.
terrible.
I've never done well. I've done some track races. None of them they just didn't, my hips don't like that. You need to like switch directions more than every 4 hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And man, running a track, just when they
Awful.
put the screen out there that shows your miles, it's so
Yeah.
depressing to run by that thing 3 times and it not change. It's like, it just rips your soul out, like,
Yeah.
look, I'm at mile 97, 97,
Yeah.
97, like, oh, it was awful.
Yeah.
So I that 1 mile course, that's awesome. But congratulations. How was it? So I assume, did you run for Team USA the following year?
Yeah. It was April 2015. It was in Italy, and I was on the team. And that's where I met Greg Armstrong, actually, and Harvey Lewis. And then, 10 years later, we went and climbed Kilimanjaro together. So it was like pretty cool.
That is awesome.
That is.
Yeah.
It's what a fun crew to get to hang out with on Team USA too, because those guys are fun. Man, so that's really cool. Did you ever want to try to do that again, or was you one and done with Team USA?
I did, but then I got into trail running and like mountains. So I kept thinking, because I still had really wanted to surpass 150. And then I just was like, yeah, this is too different from what I'm doing and what I really like. So I don't think you got to be really durable too for 24 hours. And I mean, I was pretty durable up until like 3 years ago. So, but that 24-hour races are really painful.
Well, you did good at the World Championship there in April. You ran 146 miles.
Yeah. Thanks to the team doctors there. That was like, because I struggled the first 12 hours with nutrition too. That has always been a thing until I kind of, sort of, I don't know if I'll ever really figure it out, but
I'm not sure any of us really do. We just figure out how to get better at it, but it's still there.
I know. Well, so Greg actually told this story on the Kilimanjaro trip. Oh no, it was Ashley, who is really good friends with Greg and has been a family friend with, she told this story because she was a bystander. She went to crew Greg, about how the doctor at the team gave me this Heimlich maneuver and I projectile vomited orange. And then for the 12 hours after, I just was like catching up for lost time. But without that special maneuver, I don't know what he did. Sometimes I'm in a race where I felt so nauseous and I'm like, oh, I wish Dr. Lovey was here to do the Heimlich maneuver. It was crazy.
Did he do that just so you would throw up?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was like exercising the demons, exercising the Gatorade from my body.
I bet that did feel good to get all that off of your stomach.
It did. And then the team was like, they had also like interns with them, like medical, they're not interns, but they're real doctors, but they're like med students. They knew, because I wouldn't have known this. They were like, your electrolytes are off. You can't drink anything but salty broth for like a long time. So, and I was so thirsty and we ran by a fountain every time and I could hear the water. And I think it's one of the the thirstiest I've been in my life, like one of the times. Because like I couldn't have any real water because they were trying to like settle everything. Whatever they did worked, because the second 12 hours was great. I did like a Nick Curry negative split. So that was cool. And that helped because Howard Nippert, the coach of the team, when we got down to like the critical hours of we were close to being a 1, 2, 3 podium for the USA 24-hour team. So Katie Nagy was in first and Tracy Falbo was in second. And there was a girl, Maria Jansen, in front of me. And they kept giving me bib numbers. Well, actually, there was a lot more people in front of me. They kept giving me bib numbers to go search for because I needed to pass that person. And so that's what kept me busy for hours. And then finally it was bib 311, Maria Jansen, that I had to catch. And I could not catch her, but I knew that I wasn't going to catch her when they stopped cheering me on as I went by. They were like, I knew I was like, I'm not going to catch her. but yeah, so I didn't, but the team won gold. But yeah, I still talk to Maria once in a while from like on Instagram or like, Facebook or something. So it's kind of cool.
I think you just shared that too, because I think I saw something about this, because you said your teammates finished first and second and you just missed podium and got fourth.
Yeah.
That's awesome though. Man, what a memory. That's really cool.
Yeah.
You got good memories.
That's
Yeah, I remember that race really well. A lot of the ones you were talking about, I was like, oh, I don't know.
And then, you talk about loving trail running so much. Let's just go ahead and talk about the Barkley Fall Classic. How was your introduction to that race?
Yeah, I mean, Barkley was one of the first ultras I heard of, because like that you could find on the internet. And I was like, whoa, that looks crazy. I'll never do this. And then you get into ultras, and then you're naive enough to like be like, oh, I could try that. And so I was kind of in that phase where, well, then I felt like I learned more about trail running, and I was back to like, that's crazy. I'm not going to be able to do that. And I got curious, and I was like, oh, Barkley Fall Classic, let me try it. And I heard that the winner gets an entry, because I was like, I have no idea how to apply, like whatever. So maybe I'll just try it. And when I did it, I was like, there's no way I could do 5 laps of this. There's like no way. It was super hard. I was like, my whole body was cramping. I mean, in September is a lot different in Frozen Head than it is in like, March or the normal Barkley time. There's a lot more briars and foliage and like things that can burrow into your skin. And like, so you're pretty sliced up like head to toe after that race. So I was like, there's no way. So it took me like another year to apply. Someone told me how to get in, and then actually like Laz offered how to get in too. So yeah, that's kind of how I ended up getting into Barkley. It was like, I needed that memory to fade a little bit.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it? Was it like everything you expected?
Yeah. I mean, I just didn't realize how, even with the Barkley Fall Classic, like how much you kind of need to know where you're going. Cause like they really don't mark it at all.
No.
So I felt like I could have gone faster, but I kept going. Do you know who John Sharp is? Have you ever met?
I know the name.
Yeah. He's like a loud Texan, and like, he's a strong runner, but he's not fast. Well, he's fast, but like, I just felt like I was afraid to leave them because I didn't know where I was going, and he knew. Eventually he's like, you got to go. And that was like pretty straightforward, because they give you the option to cut out, and my headphones might die. So just let me know when that happens. They give you the option to quit at the marathon distance for the Barkley Fall Classic. And I was like, there's no way. And I'll probably never run the Barkley. So I'm just going to stop, because like, I don't know what I'm doing. My whole body, my face is cramping, like everything. And Laz is there to punch your bib at that checkpoint. And I was like, holy shit, I'm meeting this guy like in face to face. This is like, he looks like a cartoon character. This seems surreal. And it wasn't even a question. He was just like, you can catch second place. And I was like, okay. And like all of me quitting had like ended, and he punched my bib, and I like went chasing after second, and I caught her uphill, and she eventually caught me. She was so strong downhill, but that was like kind of the first glimpse of like Laz's power to get like the best out of you, like more than you ever thought was possible. I know he has like a bunch of critics, but like that is his probably secret, like his superpower is that. And that was just one sentence to me, and I was like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, he's a very cool dude. I like Laz. I'm a Laz fan. I know some people are not, but I am. I think he's done a lot of good for the sport.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Then you roll on. You do a race very close to us, the Georgia Death Race. You finish second there. But then, the one I really wanted to talk about, Western States 100. Man, what a good performance you had there. 8th place. 20 hours. Was that did you get into Western States through
Georgia Death Race?
Okay, that's what I thought. That's when it was the golden ticket. Awesome. So is that why you ran the Georgia Death Race?
I think. Yeah. Well, actually, I was already registered, and then it was like a golden ticket race, and I was like, cool. And it played to my strengths because it was the longest because I think 100K was the next longest distance, and that had a lot of climbing, and that's kind of like what I liked doing. But yeah, I mean, that was a super fun course. So I got to run that Duncan Ridge part of that course again.
Yeah,
I was
you
like,
actually got to see
wow.
it.
Yeah, and I was like, this doesn't seem as hard now. I'm like trained for it. I was like super trained for hills, so they didn't feel big at all. It was kind of cool. Like we were running it, and I was like, yeah, I think I hiked all this when I did the Duncan Ridge thing.
Yeah, you had 14-ish hours. That's a great time on that trail. But your Western States, that's probably the one that probably gave you a lot of exposure to finish top 10 there.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. Those times are like, you wouldn't even get top 20 now with that time. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, and it's funny, I ended up chasing Bethany Patterson, who was the same runner that I was chasing at Georgia Death Race. So like, we were like the runners that could finish strong. And I think you have to be more aggressive now if you're going to run Western States and you want to be top 10. But yeah, I mean, I got to go back the next year because I got the guaranteed spot from being top 10, and I was just so burnt out. But yeah, I think that's what got me on the ultra team for the following year. And then I had my worst racing year ever, and then I got kicked off. But it was cool.
Yeah, you got to check a box and say you did it, right?
Yeah, totally. And it was a good team of people then. We did like an athlete summit in Zion National Park. It was like super fun.
And you say that like your time, obviously the times are much faster than that now.
Mm-hmm.
But 9 years ago, we've came a long way in fuel, hydration, shoes, all that. So definitely. It's a huge difference now. So I really think that you could probably run it a lot faster now if you wanted to too, just based on, fueling and everything that's available. So yeah, times have gotten faster, but man, so has like the science of ultra running, because back in 2016, I mean, you had goose, maybe squirrel's nut butter, Gatorade. There probably wasn't a whole lot like of electrolytes back then either. I was sitting here trying to think like what was back in 2016.
I think people mostly took S caps and those types of things.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy to think about that it's
that quick.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, now you can
whatever you need.
You can almost pick your calories and liquid, together. Like how many calories do I want in this serving? It was just amazing. So, back then it was a lot harder to get fuel. It was a lot harder to fix your stomach when things went wrong. Like because you were, just really just trying to finish it. You had to grit it out.
100 miles on grit and determination. That's all you had.
But the rice avocado balls from Forest Hill.
Oh yeah,
rice balls. We had those at a race. One of our races, somebody brought them. As soon as they got set out, gone.
Yeah, I mean that's like the perfect food. It's bland rice and like a fat that, like avocado is just so mild, and you can add salt, and then it's like the perfect food.
Yep, those and pierogies. You always get a hit with either one.
Yeah, pierogies are good.
Pierogies were like a big staple for bigs, because it's just like portable. You can just carry it, and it's potatoes and pasta or whatever it is, the outside dough.
It's good.
So I want to ask you this because we're 50 minutes into this podcast, and we're not even. I mean, we just made it to like 2017, 2018, but it was fun, like learning. That was the whole point, was like to learn how you got better and what your goals were, and just to see, and the one thing we didn't really make it to was like bigs, you getting involved into the backyards, and you did it a couple of times. And then like in 2019, and I think that was the year that I truly started watching, I think I started running ultras in like 2017, and then 2018 I kind of heard about the Barkley and the backyards. I didn't really understand what a backyard was, but then in 2019 I was following along some. That was the year you won Biggs. Yep. It's crazy to see your first place, like 60. That 60, I don't know what he did back then. Was that yards. Miles or loops? Or?
It was like 60 hours, yeah.
Yeah, 60 hours.
Which is also crazy now. Just in a few short years, it's like, you got to run 400 hours. That was a joke in the beginning. Like Guillaume started 100 hours or, I said 400 hours. Maybe it will be 400, but it goes well over 400 miles now.
Yep.
And that was the joke where it's like, let's just make this ridiculous goal that no one's ever gotten to so that you don't actually ever reach your goal. And now they hit it like every time.
Yep. Well, and what's really cool is like there's only 2 women that's ever won Biggs. Mm-hmm. And that's you and Courtney, right?
Yeah, I think the next year.
So that's kind of cool. I mean, that's something that you can always like hang your hat on because that's really awesome. But yeah, like it's crazy to think about in 2019 to now they're running 400 plus miles. I mean, it's just going to be a matter of time before they hit 500 here soon. So
it's like there has to be a limit, right? Like, because well, I don't know, but you would think because now we're dealing with sleep deprivation. So Courtney and I, the first year we ran together, we ran like pretty much the entire time together. Well, until I was done earlier than her. But we had researched like the longest anyone's ever stayed awake. And it was some high school kid and there was all the proper like things were they was monitored to make sure he wasn't sleeping. And I think it was like 11 days or something crazy, or maybe that seems long, but it was something over a week or 7 to 11 days, somewhere in there. But he has like insomnia issues now because like he's an older guy now.
Wow.
But he also wasn't exercising. He just kind of sat around and played video games. So, you know what I mean? You're adding this whole other extra layer of energy demand and fatigue. So it was just kind of interesting to figure out like how long has anyone stayed awake?
Yeah. Probably in 3 years, you'll probably get somebody to run. We'll be up to 7 days by then.
You know what's impressive though, truly, is like having your stomach dialed in enough to do it for 4, 5, 6 days. Yeah. Like I
feel like Biggs is the only place I've never had stomach issues because you're running such a slow pace.
Yeah.
And which enables you to get in like real food because you can't just maybe you could do gels Kyle Curtin did the Colorado Trail on basically, he had bites of food here and there, but he mostly used gels and like liquid calories the whole time.
I can only do gels for at the most 24 hours, and that's it.
It's crazy.
Well, and last but not least, like, obviously we had Greg on here and he talked about the trip and stuff. And you're actually the first guest I think we've had on that ran Mount Kilimanjaro. First female. But how was the trip? Like, how did that all turn up? Because I remember John talking about Run Up for Water, and it was super cool. We had Greg on, and he was talking about why they were doing it and raising money, and but was it everything that Greg had hoped it would be? And it looked like a pretty amazing trip, and all the pictures I've seen looked awesome. And obviously, if you could spend that much time with Harvey and Greg, you're going to have a good time. But how was the trip for you?
Yeah, it was awesome because like I really didn't know. Like I was telling you guys before we started recording, I only knew Greg and Harvey, and then I'd met Ashley at the 24-hour event, but not since then. And like everyone got along so well, even though everyone was so different. But they were all people who had some part in helping Run for Water, reach a goal throughout its existence, so Greg wanted to bring us all together and like do this trip. And Isaac was our guide, who's an ultra runner who's lived in the US for a while, but he's a Tanzanian and he lives in Tanzania now. And I think him and Greg originally got hooked up because Greg wanted to do the whole thing, Greg style, carry his own stuff in one push up the mountain. So Isaac, is like one of the few guides that probably is like, that's not crazy. Yeah, let's do it. And they went in like, I think it was like a 48-hour thing, and they did it on their own. And then he was like, I want to bring a trip back here. And they did it a few years ago. I don't remember how long ago it was. So there's a bunch of folks went, and then a lot of those folks came back, and they're like, why did we agree to do this again? Because it's super fun, but it's definitely a little bit of suffering because like it's cold and you're pretty dirty. And like, I don't know, it was really fun though. It's such a great group of people to get to know them because you really get to know everyone. It's like, we all stayed because like before and after we all stayed in this big house together. So like, you're there. But yeah, like originally Greg wanted to raise money for this project where they can get water higher up on the mountain, which has hit a government red tape. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but the porters just carry water. Think about you're doing vert and you're like, I want to get 3,000 feet of vert. Well, think of carrying a 5-gallon bucket on your head. Like, fill the bucket halfway and then walk up a hill and tell me how hard that is. It's crazy. I think that we asked them how much the porters make, and it's like something like the equivalent of $10 a day, like American dollars. So the purpose too of the run that Greg put together, after our summit, we were going to go down to a lower camp. And the one day we were going to kind of rest, and then whoever wanted to run was going to run from, it was a porter trail that it wasn't a hiking trail that tourists use. It was a porter trail. We ran from one of the high camps to the other camp that we were staying at. So it was like a minimal amount of elevation gain, but still like a lot. And he wanted to invite the porters to like run with us and stuff and to partake so we can all just run together. Cause like you meet all these folks in ultras that you wouldn't normally meet. And I was like kind of skeptical of Greg's idea. Cause I was like, dude, these guys are tired. They're not going to want to do that. And the next day, like so many guys like signed up, like way more than we ever thought. It was like 30 porters ended up running this race, like at least a lap. And then you guys should have Harvey on to tell this story. Harvey and one of the porters, Rick, ran step for step for like however long they did. I forget. It was like over 50K. And it was incredible. And then the next day, Rick carried Harvey's stuff. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, there's, like we have the best runners in the world, but I bet you some of them are like, just don't even have the opportunity or know what ultra running is. Like, it's crazy. It was really cool to see. The porters are wearing jeans and boots or whatever. And so Rick was wearing whatever his outfit was like some regular pants and like a shirt. And then next lap, you see him wearing all Harvey's stuff. But Harvey's like, we got to get you some real running gear. And he got him kitted out. So it was super cool. And he told him what to eat. Cause like that, I don't know if they know how to fuel super well. So yeah, Harvey was just like, we're going to do this. It was super, super cool.
That is awesome.
That is
yeah.
cool.
I mean, those guys got to be fit. I mean,
You got to be.
good.
Yeah. They're way
insane.
fit.
Well, that's really cool. Thank you for sharing that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool.
So like in 2023, I see that like your ultra sign up kind of like goes kind of silent for a while.
Yeah.
And then we got run up for water. And then I see you're running Black Toe in February.
I'm still registered. I'm recovering from Achilles surgery. I told John,
no.
I thought I would be able to maybe hike a lap. So we'll see. That's like still, but I can't run. I won't be running for a while. And when I can probably run, it's getting close, maybe towards the end of winter, but like that's a few steps. It's not, it's going to be a while. That happened since that was Hard Rock 2022. I struggled since that. It was like 75% torn.
So you just never really had the surgery?
Yeah, well, I tried everything else. It was 50% torn, and so we tried a bunch of stuff, and I was like, I got an MRI in July of last year, and it was 75% torn, and I was like,
my goodness.
Yeah.
It's going the wrong way.
Yeah, it did. My friend Sarah was like, at least it took 3 years to get 25% more torn. And then I went to the Alps for one last hurrah. We went on this like epic, I went with Stephanie Case on this like epic 3-day Alps trip. And it didn't tear then. So, and 10 days later, I had surgery. So it was a fun like send off for that Achilles.
Wow.
So do you think once you're fully recovered, you're going to try to find a race for 2026 then?
Well, I don't think I'll try anything in 2026. I'll play it by ear. Like if all goes well, like I would like to try to do like, maybe like try Hellgate if you know there's still a spot, but I won't know until like I'm not going to have any goals because I just want to make sure because I've heard this timeline can be different for different people, so I don't want to like have a goal and have to train a certain amount. Maybe 2027, maybe
2027 year comeback.
Yeah, maybe I'll be like 46, going on 47.
Hey, that's still young.
But Harvey, look at Harvey and Greg.
I think they get faster in the 40s. So.
Yeah,
apparently.
So let's talk just a few minutes now. I mean, you started your career off. You became an ultra runner, found a coach. Set some pretty amazing goals for yourself and accomplished them. And getting to run for Team USA. Placing top 10 at Western States. But full circle now, you are a coach, correct?
Yeah. My job situation changed, and I was recovering from the Achilles surgery, and I was like, I have time to like get my USCA certification and get everything in order. I had met Brittany Peterson at Moab Run the Rocks a couple years ago, and she had asked me if I was a coach, and I wanted to join up with her. And so I hit her up again, and I was like, I think I want to do the coaching thing because I want to like work with athletes still. I was an athlete manager at Tailwind, and then this would be like working with athletes of all different abilities in a different way and kind of helping them achieve their goals, instead of like promoting a brand or something. So I thought it would be a really cool experience. And I got so much out of my coach, Michelle, that I was like, I think that with everything I've learned and then, like getting a certification and continuing education and everything like that, I like seemed pretty much like manifest destiny. So now I'm coaching and I have my first big group of clients, and it's been super fun to hear everyone's goals. And a lot of people are running races I've run that I'm like, oh, I can't. Somebody told me they were running Dirty German, and I was like, this is one of my favorite races. It's great. So it's been really fun so far.
Well, congratulations on that endeavor. How can people? So, are you still taking clients?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. How can people get a hold of you or reach you to inquire?
Yeah. Well, I can give you the link. And then we are also rebranding. So right now it's called something different, but within a few weeks, it'll be called Wild Peak Collective because it's, Brittany took over the company from someone else, and it's, me, Manu Velasca, who, won Moab 240. She's a Brazilian athlete who lives in Spain. So she's the other coach, and then Brittany lives in Canada right now. And so it's the three of us, and we were like, we need a rebrand. It's going to be called Wild Peak Collective. So that's my email right now is Maggie@Wild Peak Collective. So you could email me, but I could also give you a link to like an inquiry form. And then if the website's ready by the time we want to publish, I can give you the website that Brittany's working on. So
perfect. So to be a coach, do you have to? I'm just making a joke here, but it sounds like she ran a 240 did you say Moab 240 in one? And then
Manu did, yeah.
Yeah, and then you ran the Cocodona 250 in one. So is that like a qualification? You got to run at least 200 milers and win?
Brittany's the shorter distance. She was a top 10 Western States and like won like Lake Snow. I don't know. She's the speedy one, and I think we're the distance people. But
well, that's fun.
Yeah.
So how many years were you at Tailwind?
It's like 6.5, almost 7, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what brought me to Colorado originally.
So were you working like for marketing?
Yeah. It was a lot of different roles over the period of time, but ultimately I was like the athlete manager towards the end.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Well,
then
sounds like you've stepped into the right role for you right
Mhm.
now, because coaching, I mean, you've got the experience, you've got the history, and um, that's something fun. And it's obviously you can tell talking about it that you're still very passionate about running. So um, I hope you're having fun with it.
yeah, doing the programming super fun because especially because I'm not doing my own right now, so it's like it's fun because everyone's so different. So it's like you have someone where their base building is just so long, and other folks are just jumping right into speed work. So it's cool, and it's
Awesome.
everything's a challenge too. Like one woman has like a year build up to a race, which I is ideal because like she's coming back from a surgery, and then other people are like it's 3 months. So it's like you got to figure it out, you know.
Yes.
Um, yeah, it's fun and it's cool to like. It'll be cool to like get to know these folks over the year and like meet all these different people.
Yeah, and watch them grow. That's the fun part, is like watch them hit their goals and know you're helping them do it.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's so fun. How long have you been coaching so far?
Only like let's see, only like a month or two.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. I've helped friends like in the past just like with rough plans and things, but this is the first time I'm doing it as like a career move.
Well, good. Well, we'll get the link shared for anybody that's interested. Obviously, you can send her an email, or we'll put the email and links in the show notes. So if you're interested, definitely reach out to Maggie. Now, Maggie, we got to ask you a question that we ask every listener on this podcast before we turn it over to Matt for listener questions.
Yeah.
And that is, why do you run? Why do you continue to do this? You're talking about going through, a year's worth of recovering for your Achilles. And, you've already talked about, you definitely want to find a race, whether it's Hellgate or something, but why do you continue to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that answer I think where most people would evolve. So like it's probably very different from when I started, which was like, what's it like to run this far and this far, and can I do this? And now it's more like, even if I don't get to run another race again, I'm like, I just want to be able to go with my friends with like 14-pound pack, no heavier, don't like carry into the mountains and do like a 3 or 4 day trip and feel good and like not be like dropped by my friends. So I mean, I like it because I think just being outside and being like away from technology at this point. Like there wasn't not as much technology when I started running, so that's definitely like a plus. Now when you're out in the wilderness, and like that's kind of what I missed the most when I was recovering from surgery in the cast, because like I'm not gonna go, I couldn't really like go crutching outside it, that's kind of far. So I was like missed being outside. And now I can go for a walk. So like there's at least that. So I think it's just so I can be outside.
Well, that's a good answer. Definitely. And I definitely understand the part of like wanting to be out with your friends
Yeah.
on, adventures and like doing hikes and stuff like that. So sounds like, to get the Achilles healed up, then you have your coaching clients and you'll be back to running soon too. So, looks like you're heading in the right direction anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. It should be okay.
How, before we turn over to Matt real quick. So like you tore your Achilles in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of what stopped you from racing at that point?
Yeah. I mean, I still ran Run Rabbit. So I didn't know it was torn yet. I thought rest would help. I was like, well, I'll just run one more 100 and then I'll rest. And actually I went out to do a Barkley Challenge loop in October and meet up with John Kelly. And that's when I was like, something's wrong. I'm like, I should be better by now. And I got an MRI shortly after.
Oh, wow.
Man. Yeah, that's definitely been a long road to recovery.
Yeah.
I bet you're
Yeah.
ready to get it healed.
Yeah. People ask me how I am mentally because I was ready for this because I knew it was going to be long and that this is how, what is the saying? Only way out is through. So whatever.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Williams, we will turn it over to you, sir.
All right, we got a couple questions. The first one is, I think we've covered it, but is she really coming to Black Toe? So
Yes, I have my flight.
So it's
going to be like a Kilimanjaro reunion. So yeah.
All right. The next question is, what small or big action that you've seen or experienced that has flipped the switch in your running?
Well, I was working with a coach and it was doing quality over quantity. I was like, that's the simplest way to put it.
The next one is, what has been your favorite race that you've got to run out of these 95 that you have on Ultra Sign Up?
That's really hard to pick. It's there's ones I forgot about that you guys were talking about where we went down this whole memory lane journey. The first viaduct I ran, which is crazy. I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I love the big format just because you make friends with so many people and you can run let's be honest, I couldn't normally run with Courtney for 36 hours. It's not going to happen. I think it's a special format.
Yeah.
Do you have one that is very special to you?
I mean, the 24-hour World Championships, that was pretty special just because I don't think I could have run that hard if I was running for myself. It was you're part of a team. And then also a lot of people donated so that I could get to I was between jobs and I wasn't making much at the time. And people donated, I made these hats and they bought them and I sold shirts and things and people bought them and so I was I'm running for those people too. So this isn't a waste of their money. And that's honestly what motivated me.
Awesome. Yeah. And was that in Italy?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's cool too. Wow, to get to go do that.
Yeah. Well, I could see the Alps from Turin from the city. And I was like, what am I doing here? I was like, those look really cool.
That is awesome.
All right. The next one is, what has been the wildest animal that you saw during these mountain races?
Well, I've seen a mountain lion, but that was on a training run with Megan Hicks. That's pretty crazy because I think it's pretty rare. Well, I've seen mountain lions multiple times, but that was in the day. I think probably moose because they're pretty scary. They scare me more than mountain lions. But I think I've seen a moose both years at Run Rabbit. And it's almost guaranteed. I think you'll see a moose.
Those things are huge.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Mm-hmm. And they're really unpredictable. So I feel actually, no. I have a more moosey story than that. It's still part of the pre-race. Actually, they might have a new one now. But anyway, I was at a certain point high above in the Alpine where it's just willows and a moose charged me. And it was just the guy ahead of me and then a photographer were the only witnesses. But the moose, it was a young bull moose. It charged at me and it decided to turn off at the last minute. It wasn't crazy close, but they say go behind a tree, but there's willows. That was nothing. And they don't have good eyesight. So he's probably just freaked out and then saw me and was like, whoa, never mind. But apparently that was part of the pre-race High Lonesome 100 cautionary tale. And then I think there was another moose charging this year or the past 2 years. So now they have a newer story they could probably tell. The photographer was too afraid to snap a picture. I was like, did you get that? He's like, no, I thought I was going to watch you die. I felt bad.
Should have got it.
Yeah.
All right. My last question is, what has been your favorite food that you've ate on course?
Pierogies.
Oh, yeah.
I have added those to my food selections on these 24-hour races over the last couple of years.
Pierogies are so good.
They are
They're
So
kind of harder to find in like certain areas. Like I remember going to, like the more rural areas of Tennessee. Like I don't think they have pierogies.
They're on the bottom shelf at our Walmart.
Yeah.
Very bottom.
Okay. I remember walking around like asking people, and they're like, "What? I don't know what that is." And
A
I'm
lot
like,
of
"Oh
people
man."
don't know what they are.
Yeah, probably a valid point. Depends on what location
Yep.
you're at.
Because you would think they're not. Did people think they're pasta? Do they think they're a potato? Like I forget. They're always like weirdly categorized somewhere.
Yeah, I think they're in our pasta section, but they're potatoes.
Yeah.
So
It's not a pasta. It's a
No.
pierogi. There should be a pierogi section.
all kinds of pierogies.
Right. Well, Maggie, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story. Join us on the podcast. It's been so much fun actually to get to hear your stories and learn about a little bit about you and your races. And we wish you the best for sure. But we'll definitely get your link shared for coaching and see. Once we get the new link from you, and we'll get your email shared on there as well so people can reach out. But honestly, we just wanted to say thank you for taking the time to come on the Dirt and Vert podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was super fun.
Absolutely. And I hate that I'm going to miss Black Toe. That was like a big race for me this coming year. I ran it years ago, did the 12-hour, and then went back a few years later and did the 24-hour, and that was my first experience with rhabdo. So I didn't get to finish the race. But, my goal was to try to break 100 miles in 2026 there. And me and John Harden are almost the same person, and we didn't ever look at the dates. So we've been texting back and forth for, a couple months about Black Toe, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to be there. And then, he texts, he's like, you need to sign up. I was like, got it. Went to sign up, and it is the exact same weekend as a race we put on.
Oh, darn.
We used to be the second week of February, and he was the last week of January. He moved his to the first week. He moved it later a week, and we moved ours up a week, and
No.
we didn't even know it. So I was like, next year we got to coordinate.
Yeah.
We got to be better. So all good,
Yeah.
especially for volunteers, because we have some of the same people that work both races.
And
so,
runners.
yeah.
We have some runners that, they run both. So,
But I'm
Yeah,
just sad
maybe
that I
next
won't be
year I
there.
could do it because it'll be past my 2026 timeline.
Well,
There
we'll
we go.
both run. Maybe we can talk Greg and Harvey into coming.
Harvey should be signed up this year, I thought.
I think John said he thought he was going to sign up.
click on it.
Okay. Yeah, he hasn't gotten around to it. He wanted to break 24. He wanted to break the course record, or at least try.
Yeah. I don't see him on there. He's not on there yet.
He's like a free spirit, so he kind of just like does stuff last minute.
All good though. Well, Maggie, thank you so much. I'll reach out to you for the link. I'll send you something on Instagram. But thank you so much. And
Thank
last
you.
thing, do you have any questions for us?
No, I don't think so.
Awesome. Well, Maggie, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.